Hello everyone and welcome to another FS Elite video on Microsoft Flight Simulator. Very soon I'm going to be joined by 3 members of the Microsoft Flight Simulator team, and we're going to talk all about the new simulator, how COVID-19 has impacted development, if Microsoft are finally achieving that goal and that desire to make flight simulation as accessible as possible. Alongside the interview there is going to be some brand new footage of the sim in action, but please sit back, relax and enjoy. And if you prefer to listen to an audio version of this, there is a link down in the description below.
I'm Martial Bossard. I'm the lead software engineer on Flight Sim. I'm also a co-founder at Asobo.
So, I'm David Dedeine, creative director and co-founder at Asobo Studio.
We've met. I'm Jorg Neumann, head of Flight Simulator.
I'm Callum from FS Elite, since we're going around the room. So I've been following you guys' work for ages, and I believe I've met all of you actually over several events.
Yes, we did an interview, I remember.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, thank you for joining me today. Hopefully you can hear me okay and you can see me okay. Such weird, unprecedented times, doing all of this from home. So I guess my first question is, how have you found transitioning from obviously your normal work-life balance before to now having to work from home with all of this stuff going on at the moment?
There's two sides of it. The first one is technically, I was super impressed how the team was dedicated to make it happen. So basically, everybody wanted to do his best to get a connection and to bring his PC at home and to do everything's needed, so that I would say like less than a week after the blockout started, we were efficient enough to make the sim progress. From a human point of view, I do like to do video games because of the interaction and team spirit that comes from it. And it was a bit more complicated to get this one. And especially when you close a project, it's not like a brotherhood. It's maybe too strong, but at least a team. I really compare that to a sports team on which you've got to have like a quick iteration and quick interaction between people. And this was more complicated, and basically when we had the chance to come back and like to do like this together, it was very well appreciated. I know that Jorg doesn't have that chance, for instance, but so yes, first, if you can write that, very impressed by the team and how they managed that. First, yeah. If there's one point to keep, that would be this one.
Awesome. So, I mean, your background is, I guess you're at home at the moment, but you've managed to decorate over all your boxes.
At least that, yeah. At least that. But yeah, I mean, obviously at Microsoft, we've been in lockdown since March 4th, and haven't been to the office since. So that's interesting. Now with Asobo, I think we have, but we oftentimes visit, which has gone away. But we speak on the phone a lot. But yeah, it's less teamworky. Like, yeah, I mean, I totally agree. For me, I always say game making or sim making is like soccer playing. It's exactly the same to me.
Yes.
And right now we're sort of playing virtual FIFA or something. It's a little bit like that. So, but it's super impressive what the team has been doing. Like, it is just so impressive.
Yeah. Because
nobody, like, I'm sure I think as a team, I think the individuals, I think are, you go through phases, I think, but I think I think the team actually helped there to get people through it as a good team would. So yeah, I've been very impressed.
I mean, even from like an outsider's perspective, it's been quite interesting to see how different industries have handled the changes to workflows and stuff. But equally, it's fantastic to see. Well, from my perspective anyway, there hasn't been too much of an impact, and we're still getting this in this year, which is very important.
I tell you, so what's not visible yet is that it's, we go out to manufacturers, the sound teams go out to record the planes, we record the cockpits, voice talent goes into voice booths. That's the stuff. So we were far enough along that I think it was more on the finishing side and therefore possible. But new things is harder.
Yeah,
it's much harder.
It was exactly my take on this. Is that I've been surprised how fast we have generally react, and I'm completely aligned with what I've been just said. It was great to see the team, the real team spirit in action when suddenly everyone wants to continue to walk and to move forward in this context, and it was great. But when something is already on rail, when it's about something that you are gonna finish, it works. When it's all about starting something new, even if it's new feature, new modules, it's harder because at the end of the day, we need direct communication and direct, especially with an experienced team, where everyone knows. Sometimes you just look at someone and you already know what he's thinking. It doesn't work with whatever the awesome tools we are using to try to avoid the issue. At the end of the day, to launch new thing, it's different. Yep.
Yeah. So I just want to carry on with like the whole theme of new features and stuff. So the last time I touched the sim was at XO19, well, publicly anyway. And that was the first time as well. I guess loads of other people had the first time to touch and feel that sim. So firstly, how did that feel to finally get that out in the public? And then secondly, have you used that feedback since people have been touching it to kind of polish things over the last couple of months?
I have my story with the XO event. The other guys already know what I'm gonna say. What I've been impressed by during the XO in London is that it was something we were guessing, but we haven't experienced yet. Is that first? Sometimes there is this thing about it's a sim and how gamers will gonna react to it. But if you were there, you remember that actually the line was actually as long as the.
Oh shit!
Oh no!
It might have been the longest line, at least in our minds. We're like, hey, I think we were successful.
Yeah, and it was amazing. I'm going to continue the story because we talked about that a lot. And
I'm back.
Yes.
I'm back.
There he is.
So we were continuing your story, saying that there was a long line. It was amazing to see all people were dedicated to what they were trying to do. So please continue.
Yeah, and to see that even that obviously some simmers were there and they were happy to have hands-on, etc. But also that casual people casual gamer or hardcore gamer, but casual to the sim, or even they haven't touched a sim ever in their life, were actually super involved in emotionally when trying the sim because it was a sim. And it was one of the takeaway because it needs to stay a sim. It's a sim and it needs to stay a sim because even for people who are not simmers, the fact that they actually land an actual virtual plane and not a gamey plane or an arcade-ish type of plane, it makes them feel the proud of achieving the fact of flying and the fact of landing makes even more sense. And we have seen gamers sweating, trying to land, the DR400 on Courchevel.
Yeah. And
it was so great because it was it confirms that we were on the right path in terms of we are doing a sim for simmers, but it's for the exact same reason that it was gonna be cool even for gamers. So it was one of the takeaway. So I will let the other ones.
It felt great being at XO. And it's like showing your baby for the first time. It's a magical moment in time. And what I would agree, it's a little bit of a cliche, but there was always the gamer guy and maybe his girlfriend. Mm-hmm. And what was great to see was they're both interested. Yeah. They were both trying it, and there's it felt like people genuinely embraced it all up. It didn't matter where they come from, the simmer, gamer, or not neither. It was interesting, and I think that's great. That's great for flight simulation because I think this whole hope that people have that we can add to the hobby. I think hopefully this can achieve that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean. Sorry, go ahead.
No.
No, please, honestly.
I was just saying that also it helped the team really because when we went back from this event, we received so much passion and love for what we did for our work. So we tried as much as possible to give that back to the entire team. But at least the 10 people that was there, they were able to test it, to have the testimony of the so good vibes we received during these 3 days. It was amazing, and it actually helped the team to continue the hard work on this team.
That is really cool. And when I was there again, I saw those lines in the events, and I think when people approached the booths and there wasn't an Xbox controller but like the yoke and the pedals and stuff, people were like, whoa, I actually get to fly and experience it. So for me, that was quite a cool sight as well to see. And obviously you guys were very engaged in talking to the people as well. You mentioned the landing challenges, so that was super exciting. And also I think it's a really cool way to introduce, like you said, those gamer side of people to experience this sim. So how have you found trying to find that balance between appealing to gamers and also appealing to the hardcore flight sim enthusiasts and stuff, which probably is more of the people I sort of represent? But I'm curious to see how you've found that balance between the both.
I personally think it's slightly. David should answer the question. The reason why I don't like the way it's phrased is I don't think we ever really talked about gamers. I think I think it's flight simmers and newcomers.
Mm-hmm.
Gamers is a specific mindset with specific logic. We never really said, "Oh, how are we going to make the gamers happy?" ever. But newcomers, that was important.
Mm.
I would also add that we can. I guess it's the same thing for each of us on this call. You know, sometimes you are in a gamer mindset. Sometimes you are in a mobile phone gamer mindset, and sometimes you can be on a sim mindset. And actually, I don't believe that necessarily you need to be. And by the way, it has been confirmed during the interview we've made. Typically, we had some, quite generalist press or media asking question, or more gaming media question. All of them have been or are at some point simmers. But obviously, they play also the games on console and Xbox, etc. So, again, I think the mistake would have been to try to do a game for to make a sim for gamers. It's not exactly the right answer. Let's do a sim for simmers. And as I was explaining at the beginning with the XO event, it's actually exactly what even the gamers expect.
Yeah.
Because if you stop to be a sim,
you're nothing.
if you stop to be a sim, you're nothing.
That's right.
And so, exactly. So that was the guideline since the very beginning.
Great. I mean, that's exactly the experience I've had with it, and just using it all over the occasions and stuff. The accessibility for me was super important, and what I found using the beta version as well is you just literally plug in the controls and boom, it's all kind of pre-configured and stuff, so you can get straight into the whole simulation experience as well. So I have to talk about it because it was one of the biggest pieces of news that you dropped last week at the media briefing. Virtual reality.
Yes.
So
yes,
it's obviously
Not really surprised, honestly.
so not coming out. It's just a prerequisite. This is obviously not coming out at launch time. It's coming out a few months after with a free update, as you spoke about in the brief. So, how much was the decision influenced by community feedback, and how much was it just pure? You really wanted to see virtual reality in such a beautiful environment.
It was super loud and super clear right after E3. It was like every other comment was, "This needs to be in VR." And I remember I was looking at each other like, "Damn, we need to put this in." So we started running right after that. Like the partnership with HP, I think is just a fortuitous thing, because anytime you get somebody like that invested in you and helping and giving you hardware and stuff, it helps you just making something greater. But it popped right to the top. That one in Seasons.
And Troika Air too.
Yeah, which is coming in launch. So that's
So if you're using the beta, you might have a surprise.
Okay, I'll keep that in mind. But it's crazy. Every comment, every video, it's like, has it got track IR? And it's so hard to not say yes, it has. But obviously now we can talk about
so
it.
I don't know. You should try. You should try. Who knows?
Just if you have track
Nobody knows, but it's the embargo thing. No?
plug it in.
Plug it in. Plug it.
Be right back.
Yeah.
I'll have to give that a try. So VR has come in, that's amazing. And then obviously in the press brief, we talked a little bit about some of the improvements you've made since previous events and stuff. So from a technical aspect then, so what are some of those key changes and why were they so important to bring to the release of the sim?
Any of the 4 areas we touched?
Yeah, I mean, so when we were watching it, I think one of the most impressive things for me was the night lighting and how you literally have the temperature of each bulb or light source anyway to make that realistic night flying experience. So, you know, why was that important to include with the sim? Was that feedback again you got from the community, or was that always part of the plan?
Well, it's not only feedback. The simulation is not it's a system, and every time you want to improve in one end, you've got to improve the other part. So it has been because we wanted to bring night flight. You've got to be as accurate as possible, and if you want to do that properly, it's just not the matter of aesthetical matters, right? You want to be in a position to understand exactly what is the city, where I'm going, how can I do navigation. Night VFR is doing like that. It's done like that. You've got to recognize parking plots. You've got to recognize big streets. You've got to recognize everything. So it has been identified as a feature that was needed to have a proper experience for simulation first. And after that,
Calum, like here's a story. Like we've never talked about this, but I'll tell the story a little bit. Right after the GPE event, right after that event that we had in September or whenever it was, October, we went to a restaurant outside of on the other.
Oh my God! Yes.
And the reason why I picked the restaurant, A, that's really good food, but the other reason is that it shows the night lighting of the.
Okay, I see what you are.
Yeah, I was like. Guys, look. and I like this is a big compliment. Asobo being who they are, they just take something and go all the way. Like I was just poking around, you know, just doing my thing. But yeah, then all of a sudden they do everything, including the scattering effect and everything. Everything is then correct, right? But it's this one maybe not so much community, but I think it was just the right thing to do. Yeah. You know, we just didn't have enough time spent yet. But I want to tell that story at least once.
Yeah.
It was a good one.
And a good restaurant too. So that works. Okay.
And some other technology that just impressed was the 3D wave animations and how the wind kind of affects all of that, and the grass as well. I mean, like
the form. I do say the form all the time because when flying, it's what you get. The only information to get how much form you've got on the top of waves, and it gives you the information of the windy condition on the sea level. That's important too.
So that piece of advice has always stuck with me. So I used to be cabin crew, and one of the first things you do when you're a cabin crew is you sit in the flight deck, and they like talk you through like what's going on in the flight deck, so you have a bit of an idea. And we were coming into Pisa, and it was a really windy day, and you could see the crest of the waves where they were white and stuff, and that information is what they told me, and it's just always stuck with me. So when you talked about that last week, I was like, okay, so this makes total sense and stuff. So that was really cool. And again, I think it highlights the fact this is a simulation for simmers and pilots, right? And it's those smaller details which are going to make a big difference, I think, to things to come in the future as well. Cool. So another key piece of technology I just really want to touch upon real quickly is multiplayer. So for me, that's going to be amazing because I can finally fly with friends super easily. And another element I think you've touched upon as well, how it can just break down barriers. You literally just add your friend and you go flying from the get-go. So is there anything we can see in the future about putting on community group flights or engaging with the community in different ways to make multiplayer not just a place where you go and fly online, but actually interact with other people as well?
I have to beat my tongue to not tell you too much. There is upcoming things that we are not ready yet to talk about, that will gonna come. That will obviously expose even more the multiplayer features we have right now. But it's too early to talk about this. But that's true that right now that's it. I completely understand, and even just seeing the community organize those bush trips or navigation between San Francisco and Los Angeles and see people just being happy to be all together flying is already such a, because it would not make sense in lots of other type of game, but in flight sim, it makes a lot. It means a lot. It really being all together, discovering the world. It's already a lot. So there is more coming, but I cannot talk about it yet.
It makes us so happy. So we obviously look at the forums all the time, and when we see pictures, there was the big formation of Airbuses. I don't know if you saw that, but it was so cool. Like as a team, we're like, "Oh my god, this is the coolest thing ever!" And then we put it on our website and stuff. But yeah, that's why we make these things, right? It's so important to have a community.
Yeah. So I just want to, I know we're running out of time, but something you mentioned a while ago was how, as a development team and as the reason the flight simulation thing was here in the first place is to break down barriers between, flying and having all these different things you needed to get a great complete experience. Do you think you've achieved that goal with what you've got at the moment to make it as accessible as possible for all types of simmers and people who want to experience this?
No, the answer is no. You know why? Because it's just the beginning. Again, I think we achieved some part of it. So what we were at least trying to reach at this stage, but it's just the first stage. So I will let the others move forward.
No, we're really just at the beginning of this, right? Like, I think we talk about this a lot. There's I always have this vision of the sandbox, like literally like an actual physical sandbox, and I see the simmers and they bring their shovels and they know exactly what to do. I'm like, simmers having fun in the sandbox, awesome. And then I see the other kids sort of standing around, and I think you can help them a little bit having fun in the sandbox. I think they will have fun in the sandbox, but I think we can give a little bit more structure or point them at things a little bit more, not heavy-handed, just for them to have a good time, and I think that will make it even broader, right? In this whole effort to bring the hobby back and have like a modern engine, I think we can actually take significant steps to help aviation. I really believe that. Like, I talked to some organizations out there that concern themselves with bringing young kids to aviation, for example, and they're so excited what this sim can mean, because they can see it becomes so much more accessible, right? It takes effort to get to a plane and actually fly in the real world, and I think we can get there. We can get people's love for flying back, or instill it maybe for the first time too. Especially
in the current situation where people aren't necessarily able to get to a plane as accessible as before. So,
exactly.
Right product at the right time.
You'll see an announcement soon that when next time we see each other, we'll make an announcement soon that makes me so happy and related to what we just said, and then we'll talk about it. Next conversation we'll have. It's great. It's exactly in the spirit of bringing aviation back to the world and letting people visit the world.
Awesome. Very excited then. And my final question for all of you is, have you flown over your house yet?
Oh, yeah. Yes, my house, the one was when I was a kid, my former school, my favorite places on the Pyrenees, and yes, it's basically you can do all that kind of stuff, and after that you want to discover. So as a first, we all did that. I don't know for you guys. Well, for Jorg, I know.
Well, obviously,
my wife's house. Like literally, it's funny because we live in photogrammetry land, and my wife's car. Oh, it's on the other spot, but it's in front of the house. It's just on where my car currently is, but it's like, it is so real. It's crazy.
I only ask because that's the first thing I see in any comment section and stuff. Is, can I fly over my house? And I'm thinking,
yes, you can.
More than likely, yeah.
Yeah. I told some people I visited my parents. I was homesick yesterday. Like last week. I was my parents live in Germany. I can't visit them, and I was like, this sucks. I can't fly. I can't do anything. my dad's 91, so like I really actually would like to see him. So I actually flew a Piper. I flew a Piper plane and landed it next to the lake where my parents live. And then I called him and said, "Hey, I'm near you. At least in spirit, I'm near you." That was nice.
I did the exact same thing with my mother. Exact same thing.
Really?
With a lake, by the way. There is a lake not very far from them.
Oh,
and
really?
actually, yeah. It's the exact same thing. No, it's true. And it's funny because it's a way to, as in your example, it's a way to emotionally connect with other people that you cannot visit in a way. And for me, it was also a way to have one of my best friends is in Nouvelle-Calédonie, New Caledonia.
Yeah.
New Caledonia. And I never had the chance to visit him in real life, but I told him the exact same story. I've flown upon your house over there. It was a way to be with you a bit. So yeah, it's definitely what we say quite often is that the it's a type of experience that modify your perception of the world itself. And I think it was not the initial intent, we were just trying to make a sim for simmers, but ultimately with all the cool tech that are embedded in the sim, it's something that finally I think speak to everyone is that it informs the way you understand the world. Yeah. And it's surprising for that.
And I think people like there's a joy to experiencing the planet that way. We talked to a photographer the other day, and he told us the story how he spends like weeks setting up a shot, like figuring out where the sun is and what time of day and what clouds to make the perfect shot. And then he said, "You know what? I just went into your sim. And I turned the time of day to that what I wanted, and I changed the weather and took a shot, and it was amazing. And now, and he basically like, I know which day that was. I know when the sun is going to be in that position, and I'm going to go there in the real world."
Wow!
I was like, wow, that is just crazy. So yeah, I talked to some other guys that he has a piece of running software, but basically it's a GPS locator, and it captures your runs. And he just sent us something where he shows like I was running in flight sim. So he was running in the real world, basically put the data in and somehow got the camera to follow where he was running. Like, really? How do you do that? Wow. Like, is it crazy? So yeah, not just aviation, I guess, but it's the world.
Awesome. I mean, I used the sim to just find a new place to walk around where I live and stuff. So I flew over, found some nice forestry stuff, and when me and my girlfriend ended up walking around just that area because I found it from kind of a height rather than just maps
cool.
and stuff. So
that's cool too.
Amazing. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
By the way, Callum, thanks for what you're doing. Like I'm on your side a lot.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I really like it.
Same here.
Appreciate it. So August 18th is just around the corner for you guys. I wish you all the best of luck with the release.
Thank you.
And we very much look forward to seeing what the future for Microsoft Flight Sim has in the future as well.
Thank you. Very much appreciated.
Thank you very much.
No problem.
Thank you. Sorry, there's a truck driving by. Good times. COVID times.
Thank you, Callum.
Take care.
See you.
Bye.
See you soon.
Take care.
See you soon.
Bye. Bye.
Bye.